Hello, Kyle here. I am going to review the second episode of Miss Marvel. I love this show. Oh my goodness. I have to say this. I don't want to jinx anything. I really do not want to jinx anything here. But if this show continues with the same quality that these first two episodes have continued with, it will be the best show that Disney Plus has ever released, and it will be one of the best MCU things ever, if it keeps up the same quality. I don't want to say it yet. I don't want to jinx the show like I did with Moon Knight, but I really, really love this series. This episode cemented to me how different this show feels from the MCU. Because even one particular scene where a bunch of characters, Kamala, Bruno, and her other friend, what I still don't know her name, or I can't remember it, are looking at this other girl that I still don't know her name, but like the bully-esque character of the show, who right now still isn't as much of a bully as I thought she would be, but she's sitting at this other table, and I'm like, wow, this is gonna feel like Spider-Man Homecoming, isn't it? Like this is where the show really is gonna start to feel like Homecoming, and it didn't. Like it. And I have to give this, like, a lot of this is because of Iman Vellani. Because Iman Vellani in this show is one of the best castings the MCU has done since Robert Downey Jr. I remember a lot of people said this with Oscar Isaac when he was cast as Moon Knight, which was true, but Iman is bringing to this show what I feel like the MCU has desperately needed. I love Phase 4 of the MCU. I know a lot of people do not, but I love Phase 4 of the MCU. I will say, though, that Miss Marvel, and especially Iman Vellani, has such a excitement. Like, you can tell how excited she is to be a part of this, just by how she acts. I will say, like, Shang-Chi was in a similar way, but I think the thing that makes me love Miss Marvel so much is it goes back to the roots of when a new character discovers that they have superpowers. And this is something that the MCU has kind of strayed away from lately. Eternals, Shang-Chi, Black Widow, I'm trying to think of something that also came out. In a way, even Moon Knight, right? Like, these are people that have had powers, and they're used to their powers, where it's so refreshing to see someone get their powers. Even Spider-Man. In the MCU, Spider-Man had his powers. We never got to see him have his origin story, which we've seen time and time again. But the powers, like when you first get these new powers, and in the case of Miss Marvel, it really feels, it's so much more exciting to see a young teenage character experience this. And just saying this, I really feel like Miss Marvel is what, she's like the new Spider-Man of this series. A young character getting new powers in the MCU, and who, is a fan of the other characters. She really feels like, she's like a Spider-Man, but at the same time, it's so different from the show. The way that she acts towards her friends, the way her friends act towards her, it not only feels different, but it also feels real. Like, it feels like there are some times in this particular episode that I related to a variety of different characters in this show. um, just there are so many scenes of this show that I relate to as someone that experienced high school before, someone that experienced even working with a guidance counselor in college. It's a little bit of a different thing. But in college, I experienced, speaking with career advisors. And this one scene where her friend Bruno is talking to a career advisor, I could somewhat relate to that. Not in the exact same way, but there are moments, a college advisor that he was talking to, like, I feel like this is a real thing. A real show, a real bunch of characters. I love all the characters. I love her powers. I love how she can, like, manipulate the mirror light things, and she can step on them. And I know there's a lot of discussion, this might not be the, same powers from the comics. I've heard some justifiable reasons why people are upset about them changing her powers. But I will say that I love that the powers are still similar to her powers. It's not like they made Miss Marvel turn invisible. Her powers still, in a way, let her embiggen and stretch her body in a way that, harkens back to the comics. Then there is just the exploration of her culture that we have never seen in Marvel, and we have rarely seen on a TV show like this, where it is going to be seen by millions of people. And I just love seeing representation, and it's not just representation just because they want to have representation. I'm not going to call any other shows out, but there have been shows that have been made, and they have a character that is a certain ethnicity, but they do not explore that character's, background. This show not only does, but it explores her social impact. So, like, I just love seeing two characters of the same religion going to a place of worship. That is something that we have never, definitely have never seen in Marvel. But, I've never quite seen that in a show made for the demographic it's made for, too. I will say, yes, we have Daredevil where they go to church, but this is a whole different thing. This is legitimately two characters in school. One who wears a hijab on her head, and another one who doesn't. They not only, they practice the same religion, but they have their different ways of practicing it. It's also a diverse show, and it has such, I think, a great impact for the future of the MCU, and I just cannot wait to see Iman Vellani continue with this character, because right now, she is, I don't think I've had as much fun watching a, MCU character since maybe, Ant-Man. This is how much fun I'm having watching this new character. She's just a ton of fun to watch. And, even just one scene where it involved her getting the phone number of this boy, it's like a musical sequence with the song Be My Baby by the Ronettes, and it is so, happy but celebratory. You feel like you're just filled with joy watching it. And, every time Iman smiled in this show, you knew that, she was happy, and your heart also ached. Because, Bruno definitely likes Kamala, but I could understand, imagining, Kamala, who sees this guy that she really likes, but her friend, who she might not feel the same way towards, is feeling kind of left behind. This is so relatable. And also the background of her family is so fascinating. I don't have pretty much a single criticism of the show. I also want to acknowledge the actor from No Way Home who appears. I love that watching No Way Home, we know how this guy operates, how he interrogates young kids. Like, when he's in this room with this girl, it feels like the same character, and it's like, oh wait, I know what this guy's doing. I know he's trying to get to her. Because I watched No Way Home, and because I can, figure out what he's trying to do as a person of the FBI, I think. Is he the FBI? I think he's damage control. I don't know. But that is the type of connection I like to see in these shows and movies. Not something that you have to rely on a story, but something that you rely on with the characters. But yeah, like, I think this show is just incredible. The guy that, like, was introduced, the new character who's, like, the quote-unquote crush of Kamala's, he's a great actor. I really love his presence. I love the way he reacts with Iman. It just, it's so good. I cannot wait for the next episode of this series. I want to watch it now. Anyway, let me know if you love Ms. Marvel as much as I do. And thank you so much for watching this video. Bye-bye.